Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of All Queued Up, the review podcast tied to streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, HBO Max, Disney Plus, etc., etc., etc. I'm your host, Greg Dietz, and with me always is Maya Don Fisher and Betty Badger. How are you two doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you, Maya?
I'm not bad. I'm a little chilly, but not bad. You know, that's going to be my answer for the foreseeable future. We're in the winter. We're in the winter in the mountains of Virginia, and it sucks. How are you doing, Greg?
I'm good. I had really having fun with the third season of Fall Guys, which came out yesterday, and it's all the maps so far are really fucking fun. So I'm
yeah, we spent hours playing on them yesterday. Me, you, and you and our friend Andy and Keith briefly. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. For anybody wondering, today we're going to talk about Mandalorian episode 7 / chapter 12, however you want to address it.
Chapter 15.
I did write 15. It still said 12. Don't understand that. Well, thanks, brain. Appreciate that.
Do your 5s look like 2s?
No, because I typed it.
That's some serious dyslexia.
I don't know. I don't know why I did that. There was no discernible reason. There's no 2 on my screen. I don't get it. Anyway. But also I have a couple topics I want to bring up. The first one has to do with the Game Awards. We'll get there. I'm not going to go through everything they announced. I just want to bring something up and get your guys' opinion on it. But the other thing I want to talk about is that Disney announced everything coming to Disney Plus and the movies that they have releasing for the next 3 years. So I kind of wanted to.
Yeah, it was a shit ton. Metric shit ton.
A metric. Yeah, it was a lot. So let's go ahead and get into Mandalorian.
Oh, well. All right.
This episode's fun as shit.
This episode was a lot of fun. It featured a return of the character Miggs Mayfield, played by Bill Burr, one of my favorite stand-up comedians, and I really enjoyed his story in this one. We see Din Djarin at the end of the prior episode go to Cara Dune, who's now a marshal, so he could track down where Mayfield was, find out he was serving a prison sentence on a planet, and she uses her strings to pull him out for this job. This job being breaking into an Imperial base and getting to a terminal to download the coordinates of the location of Moff Gideon's cruiser, where our poor young child, baby Grogu, is being held captive. So this was a lot of fun based on what we got to see.
There were quite a few things in this episode that I thought were just absolutely fantastic, and coming from a perspective of I'm a big fan of bringing in lore from other parts of the things that basically aren't in the films or something to that effect. So towards the end of it, we'll get there with story wise, but they mention and talk about Operation Cinder.
Mm-hmm.
The primary way that we as the fans have seen Operation Cinder is Battlefront 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2, the game that just came out a few years ago.
Oh, okay. So when he was talking about how his entire company was wiped out in Operation Cinder, that actually was one of the missions from the game?
Yeah. You actually see the Empire do that, and it was one of the main reasons that the lead character, Urso is her last name. I'm trying to remember her first name, but it's one of the main reasons that she defects and goes to the rebels.
Huh.
So it was really cool to see that. Apparently, it's also in a novel and a comic book. That wasn't the only place that Operation Cinder, but it was the first place that we've seen it in action.
or heard it mentioned in live action.
Well,
That's something that I really have to give them, credit for, because back in the day, you had the standalone novels, and you had then the expanded universe that came about beginning in the 90s. But nothing was ever considered canon, unless it happened on screen. That was the rule.
right.
Since Disney has purchased the franchise from Lucas, anything published, be it video game, comic book, novel, TV show, or movie, they've tied it all together. And it's wonderful to see that. It's refreshing to see that.
Yeah, because they clearly give a shit about the they give a shit about the stuff that others are making in regards to like this new canon, this new overall canon. Like we've been over this. I'm not the world's biggest fan of Rise of Skywalker. I think it has a lot of narrative problems, but I'm also absolutely accepting that it is canon. And there are a lot of really cool moments in that movie, like regardless. But the reason I say this is a lot of people kind of ignore the movies that they don't like. But like my big theory about the reason that the Empire wants Grogu is it relates to the theme and the plot of Rise of Skywalker. That's what I mean by I'm willing to accept it. And for them to basically say like this is the new canon, get used to it whether you like it or not, is I'm so fucking 100% in.
Yeah.
So
but Betty, what are some thoughts you had about this episode?
It was very nail biting. Once they got in there and they had to get in to get the information off that thing, I mean, it was very nail biting for me. And he took off his helmet again, and I think he's having some conflicting feelings when it comes to how he as a Mandalorian should behave, I think.
Yeah, especially since he encountered Bo-Katan and saw that there's more than one way, apparently. And now that he's been traveling with Boba Fett, and here are two Mandalorians, one naturally born, one considered, a Mandalorian because his father was a foundling. Therefore, he was, also part of a clan, who go without their helmets, and it's messing with him. And we were playing Fall Guys last night or yesterday afternoon, and Gregg mentioned something. I think it was you, Gregg, or was it Andy?
it was me. I mentioned.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, like in the scenes when he doesn't have his helmet on, notice that Pedro Pascal, he's so disciplined that he does not use his peripheral vision at all. Like, because he's used to having that helmet on, he's always going to be looking at whatever he is focusing on, is always going to be looking at it straight on. So even when his helmet is off, he is behaving as his helmet is still on. He's just, whatever he is looking at is straight ahead. He doesn't use peripheral vision at all. And I thought that was a nice touch.
It reminds me of when the movie Dread came out, and how what was the guy that played him?
Carl Urban,
yeah, how he treated that role.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar in my mind to this. It's showing care and understanding of what the character is and how to play them correctly. And Pedro, I absolutely fucking love him. Like, give him all the roles. Like, he's amazing.
Oh yeah, he's really great at playing, that character and others. And I really enjoyed Bill Burr's character in this. He brings that comic relief to it, I thought that was fun. Yeah, I mean, it was very much of a edge of your seat episode for me because I was just waiting for shit to go wrong, and when things went, that was really fun.
Yeah, Bill Burr, you know, he when it came time for him to get gritty and serious, he was able to no problem.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's just like, yeah, that was nice to see. Because I liked the little wisecracks, the whole nice shoes, you know, from last season. I wasn't a stormtrooper, wise ass. You know, those were funny and everything. I like that, but you get to see some real humanity brought to his character in this.
Yeah,
and I love that.
The speech that he has in regards to that the Empire and the New Republic are two sides of the same coin, I fucking love that. As a matter of fact, I mentioned that to somebody on Twitter. It was Cliff Blazinski was talking about how one of the things he liked most about this episode was how Bill Burr basically references that the stormtroopers like outfits are they kind of suck. Like he was like the gloves are still wet and this helmet, like he couldn't wear the helmet. And I mentioned to him how I really liked that speech he had about how like these people just want to be left alone. It's the same kind of theme that was sort of in Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And I love that shit because, you know, in real life, there are perspectives on war. There are different perspectives that aren't just like good guy versus bad guy or, you know, team A versus team B. There's a lot of variables that go into this sort of thing. And when a character gives that perspective in a fantasy thing outside of whatever's going on, I'm 100% for it. And some fucking nerd was just like, well, I don't. And I went, you want to elaborate? And he was just like, it's disrespectful to George Lucas's vision. And somebody else came in and was just like, the fuck are you talking about? Like, a perspective shift was the entire plot point of the prequels.
You know, and this is a conversation. This harkens back to a conversation that we have had with Russ on our show on Friday nights on the Realm of Collectors YouTube channel, Nerd Life Syndicate. About once Lucas sold Star Wars to Disney, whatever they want to do with it is their right to do with it. He has no rights to it any further. It doesn't matter what stories he wanted told or had already told. His interpretation of those stories means exactly squat to anybody else. He can say, well, you know, if you didn't get the dialogue of Attack of the Clones, you didn't get the entire series because it was very to the bone and not tongue in cheek and this and that. And actual words that he said in an interview this past week when somebody criticized the dialogue. It's like, you know what? You can say what you want, but these are open up to interpretation for anybody, and you sold it, so you don't have any right to say that's what it's supposed to be and how people are supposed to feel about it, and that they don't get it anymore. People get what they get.
I'd also like to point out that, and this is slightly off topic, but I don't think that the reason that to me, and when we talk about all the films, the episode 2 is the worst one is because it's forgettable and boring. That's why it's in that category. Not because the themes were inherently bad, because it's just a poorly structured fucking movie. But people will, they I don't know. That's the other caveat that I've noticed that I find really interesting is that somebody like Maya, who has been watching Star Wars since she was a little kid.
Since I was a toddler.
Yeah.
Had it on Super 8 and watched it in my den.
You grew up essentially with the original trilogy. And I didn't get into Star Wars until the original trilogy re-released in theaters. And then by that point I was a teenager. And then I got to see the prequels when they were new, and they didn't bother me. But I did see a lot of discourse from older fans who did not like the prequels. Then now now I get to see this new generation who are young adults who grew up with the prequels. And their perception on Star Wars is so much different because of what their nostalgia means to them. So when this guy screams at me on Twitter about not being George Lucas's vision or whatever like that, and I go to his page and he's just a huge, huge fan of the prequels, it's fascinating in a way. It's absolutely fascinating that there are people that like prequel lovers do not really like the original trilogy. They don't hate it, but they're not the biggest fan of it. Whereas original trilogy people can't stand the prequels. And I think a lot of that has to do with theming in both of them. They're structured differently, but also nostalgia. So, sorry, slight off topic, but I found that to be fascinating that both original trilogy fans and prequel trilogy fans are not the biggest fan of perspective shifts when it comes to characters. Bill Burr giving this speech turned off a lot of people who are hardcore fans of either the original or prequel. And I think that speaks volumes on how George Lucas made the franchise. I think it speaks volumes on stuff that you've talked about, Betty, with like the original and prequels being kind of sexist.
Yeah.
You know, these people aren't going to see this really cool, intelligent take on Star Wars. They're just going to be totally turned off by it. So, but kudos to Jon Favreau and everybody at making the show that you can give that perspective shift and put it in something that people still are going to watch and love. Like, nobody's going to sit there and be like, oh, I'm not watching the next week's episode of Mandalorian because Bill Burr had this speech. Like, nobody's going to do that. But the fact that it's in the show now, like, people can't deny it. So that's what makes me happy. That was a long diatribe for a point that was made, I suppose.
Well, you know, again, I get it, you know, and art is very, and this is art, you know, films are art.
Yeah.
It's a different way of telling a story. It's an art form. It's when you do any type of art, you have to understand that no matter what meaning you might have behind it, the general populace might take it a completely different way. And they have that right, you know, because when you create art, it doesn't really belong to you once it goes out into the general populace. It will be taken, it will be molded, it will be rebranded for what the people want it to be, what it says to them.
Right.
You know, and that will change throughout time based on our society.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm a big fan of perspective shifts in my stories. I'm a big fan of, like, we get, for example, it would be fucking awesome to see the entire Harry Potter franchise from the perspective of a character that was not involved in any of it.
Oh, yeah.
One of my favorite comic books of all time is called Marvels. And it's the perspective of a fucking news photographer during all these major Marvel events that happened over the years. That's awesome. I love that shit.
Yeah, well, you know, and that catches a lot of people because it feels more real. It's more of a perspective, you know, you as an individual reading the story or watching the story also has. You're both kind of outsiders, and it's very curious that, you know, I'd love to see what other people in the Harry Potter world were up to while this little shit was going on. You know, what did y'all think about this? Because I would not be happy.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just wanted to praise the writers and everybody involved for making that speech happen in this show, because I want more of that. I really do. But
yeah, like you said, it definitely played into part of what one of the themes was in The Last Jedi with The DJ character played by Benicio del Toro, when he was talking about everything's not black and white, there's a lot of gray in the middle, and both sides do it. It just depends on which side you're seeing it from.
Yeah.
And really well done. Really, really enjoyed seeing that coming from Bill Burr's character.
I was going to mention something real quick that I thought I totally forgot until just now, but my brother on Twitter, after I mentioned that whole thing with Operation Cinder, he says, I'm so happy that I recently played the game, or that would have been completely lost on me. And I had mentioned that it didn't matter whether you played the game or not, because my dad looked at me and said, because I told him that was in the game. He goes, well, I don't think it necessarily mattered that you knew about the game or you knew about Operation Cinder prior to that scene, because you knew that Operation Cinder was bad, since Bill Burr shot a fucking commanding officer in the middle of a Empire base. And I was like, yeah, he was like, it was bad. It was clearly very fucking bad.
Mm-hmm.
So
shot a motherfucker while he was sitting there having a sandwich and a drink in the mess hall. Yeah, he absolutely deserved it, but still.
But yeah, I wanted to bring that up because I thought that was my dad was just like, no, I got it. I got the severity of it.
Somebody needs to make Cell Block Tango from Chicago.
Yes.
Somebody needs to make a Star Wars Tango, just like Star Wars character and other who they shot or killed. He had it coming.
It'd
be funny.
I'm sure it's happened, but we haven't found it. Or Betty, you just landed on something fucking great. I don't know.
Yeah, if anybody out there listening does this, let us know. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. So what were some other things, other takeaways from the episodes? What did you think about the roles that everybody played during this, with Boba Fett providing fighter support and Fennec, and
it was a heist. It was straight up a heist.
Yeah, Cara Dune providing sniper support.
Oh, I thought it was very good. It was, again, a very nail-biting episode all around, and letting him go at the end was nice. Because I was a little disenchanted the past couple of episodes, how they have treated people in these little operations, and basically they're treating them as expendables, which I understand. They pissed you off to some degree, but where's your fucking humanity, man? I don't know. I feel bad for characters when they get treated like shit when they've been dragged into it.
Yeah, and being able to see the side of humanity from Mayfield, I think, is also allowed for Cara Dune and Din Djarin to see that as well, and they're like, you know what? He's good. Let him go. You know what? After what he did here and what he's been through, he's seen enough. He deserves to be let go.
Yeah, the way they did that was also really funny.
Do you think he'll show back up again?
Maybe.
I hope.
It'd be great. The character and Bill Burr fucking are fantastic with it. So.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm finally going to have a Bill Burr action figure. I'm just waiting for him to announce a Mayfield figure any day now. He's already said he's been scanned for it, so
that's awesome.
One of the small things they did in this episode that I thought was really clever, and it kind of goes in line with Pedro Pascal's, no peripheral eyeball situation. It's very clear to me that Din is so used to the Beskar armor that he took a shot or took a hit to the fucking stormtrooper armor, and it just it splintered off, and he was in pain after fighting all those pirates. I love that little touch. It's clear that they are caring about what we've seen in the past episodes in regards to how he kind of treats what's going on around him. So I love that little touch.
Yeah, when he got hit, I was just like, "Oh, that's not your Mando armor. It's not gonna feel good." I've seen stormtroopers explode. I'm sure that wasn't fun.
Yeah, it's great. It's so good. But yeah, why don't we go ahead and give our final thoughts and a grade on this episode?
All right. Betty, I will let you go first.
I would give it. I would definitely give it an A, maybe an A plus, because again, I think Bill Burr brought something to the table that was very nice. And again, it was action packed, but also you got to see other sides of the story that are just peeking through. So I enjoyed that aspect of it. It really grasped my attention when we watched it. So yeah, definitely A plus. Maya?
I'm going to say I'd give it an A. I don't think it was quite A plus level. I think
You
I
are
enjoyed.
biting your nails.
Well, no, I try not to do that. It's a disgusting habit, and trying to let them grow.
You anti-humor.
No, but it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and I like the character development and growth we got to see. I enjoyed seeing everything we got. Solid episode, just because I'm not giving it an A plus doesn't take anything away from it. Absolutely a wonderful episode. This season, from the get-go, right out of the gate, has just been like not letting up. It's that speech that Mando gave at the end to Moff Gideon. You have something, and I'm coming. And you have no idea how important he is to me. And you're going to find out. Oh, wow. Actually, yeah, because of that speech, I'll bump it up to an A plus because that was awesome. But yeah, I can't believe we didn't even bring that up until just now.
Yeah, I forgot about it. There was a lot in this episode. There was a lot of like little touches and stuff that were really fun. I'm gonna give it an A plus. For me, I absolutely love hodgepodge groups of people doing a task in a heist fashion. I absolutely adore that. The fact that we got that speech, that nobody can deny that there are other perspectives in this universe that don't care about this war that's happening between characters or between giant factions. The ending where Mando got his taken moment.
Yeah.
There was absolutely there was so much in this episode to love. And I like what I think is important to keep in mind with this episode. Something for me that I just couldn't get enough of was Din Djarin's like level of what he's willing to sacrifice to get this done. And that goes completely against his creed, but doesn't go against his creed because, he did what needed to be done to save a foundling that he cares about because he himself is a foundling. So there's a lot of nuance in this episode too that it's perfect. So for me, it's an A plus, but this show has not missed a shot. This show, I don't think I've given this show each episode. I don't think I've given anything less than an A. I really don't. So I'm very excited for the season finale, which comes out in 2 days.
Yeah, Misty and I, we usually get up about 6 o'clock in the morning and watch it every Friday.
Dedication.
We're excited. We love it.
Yeah. And we watched it Saturday night. We usually watch it sometime during the weekend.
When my dad and I, because we work Friday mornings, I'll wake up, take my shower, go get coffee, and if he's up, I'll be like, watch The Mandalorian so we can talk about it while we work.
Nice.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's cool that you guys do that together in the mornings.
Because he doesn't have the extensive knowledge that you and I do, Maya.
So if he has questions about it, that's something that you guys can have additional conversation about during the day.
Yep. It's nice. It's nice to
Very
share that with
cool.
my papa.
That is awesome.
He needs to watch the movies, by the way. Like, he hasn't watched episode 8 and 9. Barely remembers what happens in 7. So
he just needs to watch the whole trilogy.
Yeah. Every time I tell him to, he's like, I'm not doing it yet. It's like, why are you? All right. So the other topics that I wanted to bring up today, the Game Awards happened on Thursday.
Yeah, both topics involved, happened on Thursday. So Thursday was a major news heavy day.
Yeah. So the Game Awards, nobody watches the Game Awards for the awards. No one actually gives a shit. And I think giving awards in general is really fucking dumb. But
now, to clarify, this is the Video Game Awards that who holds these?
Jeff Keighley.
No, not who hosted. Who holds it? Like, who's the sponsor? It used to be like the Spike TV.
Oh, it's not on TV anymore. They air it on on their personal channels on Twitch and YouTube, and I don't think you can watch it on TV.
Okay, I just didn't know, who was the actual organizer of the event, sponsored it these days.
There are ads that play during it, and I think that's what paid for it, but nobody sponsored it like in that fashion. And gotcha. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Keighley doesn't have to do that. Like, he basically figured out a way to hold the host or to host the awards without needing, he obviously needs money. There's ads that play during, in between, there's still quote unquote commercial breaks, but nothing in that fashion that's brought to you by this company. So it's nice in that regard, but here's what kills me. So I watched the Game Awards because they showed trailers for a lot of upcoming games. Like, one of the ones that excited me was one called Back 4 Blood, and it's the company that made a game called Evolve, which I don't know if you remember that game. If either of you remember that game?
I remember Evolve. Wasn't that essentially like the first of its genre, where you have 5 players and 4 people are like a team, and then there's one, the monster was hunting to kill everybody, and it was their job to work together to try to take down the monster? Isn't that what it was?
Yes, I was gonna say it's definitely not the first asymmetrical game, but it is definitely one of the earliest.
One of the earliest, and I think probably the most successful that gave that genre popularity.
Yeah. I would argue that one that gave it even more so in that regard is the Friday the 13th game.
Oh, absolutely.
But
this preceded Friday the 13th by 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. That company, Turtle Rock, they acquired a lot of the team that worked on Left 4 Dead 1 and 2. And Back 4 Blood is basically Left 4 Dead. It's just...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just looks different. So my hope is that when they get closer to being released, we're going to have that multiplayer aspect. Because one of my favorite things about playing Left 4 Dead was the multiplayer part, where 4 players get to play as the humans and then 4 other players get to play as the zombies.
What?
Oh, yeah. You got to play as the specialized zombies. So the boomer, the hunter, the charger, the tank. There were a bunch of others, but
Left 4 Dead has intelligent zombies?
Not necessarily. They become intelligent if you're playing multiplayer, obviously, but
I've never thought anybody be playing a zombie.
The way that they're played is if you play as the boomer, you kind of want to strategically place yourself near them because you want to be shot and exploded. Or if you explode on somebody, it covers them and they can't see. The hunter, because you can play with AI too, they pounce on you and stuff like that, or but it was fun to play as the zombies, these specialized zombies. It was a blast. So I want that again. That's what I want. The playing against the AI is okay, but that multiplayer was so much fucking fun. So I'm excited about that. But the reason I bring this up is because a game won Game of the Year that doesn't really deserve Game of the Year. Last of Us 2.
You don't think it deserves Game of the Year?
No, but not because it's a bad game. Because I don't think it's a bad game. The reason I don't think it deserves Game of the Year is because the other nominees, I think, A, were better, and B, they didn't force crunch on their team. If you don't know what crunch is, I'll explain. It's basically forcing extended periods of overtime on your employees without paying them. In the industry, people will talk about crunch a lot, and crunch is something that is more or less inevitable to a point, but it all depends on how the company handles that crunch. Investors want to see these games released on a certain day. They know that the longer it gets delayed, the more that it gets delayed, the less likely they'll have to make money off of popularity for it. So studios have to implement crunch. And this really fucking sucks because it's forcing developers to spend literally like do 100-hour work weeks with just regular pay, just regular ass pay. Tons of developers
they're contracted, you know, they're not paid an hourly base. It's a contracted salary, I think, correct?
Yeah. It's contracted salary. So this leads to a lot of people being very angry about it winning Game of the Year. And I think rightfully so in regards to the whole crunch topic. But, and something I've tried to point out to a bunch of people, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter if you don't give it power. Awards don't matter. Why do they not matter? Because they're just awards. What matters is the people playing it. What matters is the sale numbers. When Animal Crossing has 22 million sales, while Last of Us 2 has 4 million, that speaks volumes. It speaks way more volumes to me than fucking the Game Awards Game of the Year.
Yeah. And, you know, one of my favorite games that I've played in the past decade is the first Last of Us, but I've not played The Last of Us Part 2 yet. And Animal Crossing was a day one purchase for me. So, you know, to me, Game of the Year, I don't take into account that crunch thing. You know, I mean, I know it's an issue, and there's a lot of game companies that have been accused of it, and a lot of them are being rightfully put in their place and treating their workers better when it comes to the developers and programmers and everything like that. And I know Naughty Dog has come under fire because of it.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, that's been a part of the gaming industry as long as there's been a gaming industry, and that is something that I don't feel, as fucked up as it is, the practice itself should have any bearing on what constitutes Game of the Year. It's unfortunate. To me, you know, something that would receive Game of the Year, it's got to have a compelling story. It's got to have smooth mechanics, you know, no frustrating gameplay from a mechanics standpoint. But, you know, yeah, make it frustrating from a difficulty standpoint, sure, but not from a mechanics standpoint.
I don't disagree with you, but I think when, you know, Last of Us 2 gets, you know, Direction of the Year, like that's bad because they force crunch.
Okay, that's a completely different thing, though.
Sure, I still. Here's the thing: the nominees for Game of the Year were a lot better, in my opinion. A lot of the games for Game of the Year were a lot better than Last of Us 2.
Well, what were the other games?
Let me pull it up.
Please.
Because I didn't write it down.
I just like giving Greg a hard time.
Well, because the point I want, the reason I brought this up wasn't to talk about who won the awards. The reason I brought this up was because I want people to understand that it doesn't fucking matter who wins this shit. It does not matter.
No,
it doesn't matter who IGN says is game of the year. It doesn't matter who fucking Polygon says is the game of the year. What matters is what the fuck you enjoyed. What matters is that you in a different way hold these companies accountable. Nobody gives a shit who wins these awards. It doesn't matter if it's the Oscars or it's the Grammys or the fucking Tonys. It doesn't matter. The awards don't amount to shit. Because 9 times out of 10, and I hate to break it to you, but the awards are only there and designed in such a way to sell more shit. That's it.
Yeah.
The only reason
we've had this discussion, especially when it was Oscar season.
Yeah. The only reason I watch the Game Awards is for the fucking trailers to new games that I might be interested in. I like the primary reason I watched Game Awards this year was so I could see the date that fucking Fall Guys Season 3 came out.
Which was great because they said, oh, it's the 15th. And we're like, yes.
But yeah, it just like, that's what I want people to understand. Like, if your game, for whatever reason, did not win Game of the Year, and you're pissed off because the one that you don't think deserved it did win, stop putting that into. Stop doing that. You're putting more credence onto it than it deserves. Straight up. Like Jeff Keighley has said in an interview with Funhouse.
I don't even know who Jeff Keighley is.
He was who did he work for before he did the Game Awards? I don't remember who he worked for, but when he wanted to he basically wanted to make his own thing, so he started doing the Game Awards. And when he first did them, they were a joke. And they never stopped being a joke for a hot minute because they were produced really poorly. But he learned very quickly that people only tune in because of the trailers. So he started contacting companies to put trailers on his Game Awards. And kudos, to that. He figured it out pretty quickly. But he said, like, in that interview with Funhouse, like, he doesn't really care about the awards. He doesn't vote on the awards. Like, it's a panel of people who work for other gaming publications. Publications, yeah. It's a group of 100 people, much like
the Academy for the Oscars, or whatever group votes on the Emmys, et cetera, et cetera. And, those are all based on the opinions of a handful of people who generally don't even represent the sample size of the people they're claiming to be speaking for. Yeah.
So that's all I was getting at, was like, if, like, by the way, the nominees were, the other nominees other than Last of Us 2 were Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Doom Eternal, Animal Crossing New Horizons, and Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh, I'm sorry. Final Fantasy VII Remake, please. That was phenomenal.
I've literally played every single game on that list. I've watched others play every single game on that list. The only one I haven't played myself is Hades. And I can promise you right now that every game on that list, in my opinion, is better than Last of Us 2. And again, I'm not saying that Last of Us 2 is bad. I watched the entire story because it's a horror game and I have trouble playing games. I watched the entire story. It's a good story. I even defended the story to a lot of people. But I still don't
spoiled it to me yesterday.
I spoiled the first fucking hour.
Okay, yeah, but don't spoil it for anybody else.
I wasn't gonna say it,
but yeah, that's another one. So 2 of the games that were in that for nominated Game of the Year were day one downloads, day one purchases for me: Final Fantasy VII Remake and Animal Crossing. I mean, my God, I spent countless hours when I got Animal Crossing doing everything that there was to do in the game until Final Fantasy VII came out. And then I spent countless hours doing everything there was possible to fucking do in the game. Yeah. Until, what did I play after that? I don't know. Spider-Man? Finally.
I don't know. It just cracks me. Like, people are just putting so much power, like giving the Game Awards more power than they deserve, because, and I say deserve in regards that, like, I don't know if you guys watch any of the award shows that happen every year. But do you guys care about the Oscars? Do you guys care about the Grammys?
I do
No.
not. I don't watch any award shows.
And based
Because
on
they're arbitrary. They're based on the opinions of a handful of people. And according to these people, this is what we're supposed to appreciate and like more than other things that we actually appreciate and like. Fuck out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't put much stock in other people's opinions.
Yeah. I mean,
Here we are giving our opinions, but declaring that we don't put the stock of opinions in others.
I know that's horrible, isn't it?
We are like the most ironic podcast.
Again,
Well,
I'm not out there for an award, I mean, the truth is you either love us or you hate us. I really don't care, I mean, and when it comes to award shows, there are lots of shows out there I love that will never win an award. I don't care. I still love it.
yeah. Well, that's I think my point is like, I love hearing other people's opinions. I love having that conversation. I hate giving awards. I think awards to me are a way to diminish others' work. They really are in my mind. I think that they're naturally unfair. I thought this back in school when people were given awards for like doing homework or making it to school. I'm like, the fuck is this garbage? Like, so,
I know. I was about to ask, do all the game companies get a participation trophy for participating in 2020?
I guess
I mean, if you're going to hand out awards, everyone should get participation trophies, just like elementary school.
it's just so strange that like in my mind, the way that you should have handled Last of Us 2 being announced as Game of the Year is like, that sucks. And then that's it. That's as all I should like, hey, I'm excited about this game announcement. That's it. That's all you should have done. But instead, so many people were just like ready to fucking tear down the house because of it. And I'm like, just fucking chill, guys. Just absolutely chill, please.
It's COVID. People lose their fucking minds. They don't have anything of real interest to about, so they're losing their minds on the internet over stupid shit.
I would agree with you for the most part, Betty, if this didn't happen every fucking year. This happens every year. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So, but
maybe they should just stop having them and just say, you know what? Here's a showcase. We're going to bring to you some trailers.
That's 100. Like, absolutely. I said, like, I just love 2 hours of just trailers. It'd be great. And yeah, some musical performances.
It's like,
not.
It's like E3, only not.
Yeah. So yeah, I just want everyone to listen, especially Rob from
Nerd Syndicate.
Yeah, like I saw your fucking Facebook post. Calm down. It doesn't matter.
To be fair, Rob's under a lot of stress.
Who's
Rob. Oh yeah, who's not exactly? Rob's under a lot of stress, and he's very reactionary because of it. But he's got a heart of gold.
No, I saw.
Yeah, Rob switched to decaf for an hour.
I was gonna comment, and then I was just like, nah, like I'm just gonna let it be and let whoever, like, I'm just gonna let them have this conversation, get it out of their system. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I was like, I saw that all fucking week. Just so many people just like, I'm like, it doesn't matter. Stop. What trailers did you like? Did you see something coming out you wanted to play?
That's when you just go, so anyways.
So I'm going to do that now. Anyways, so let's move on to the Disney Plus stuff.
Dan, why'd that song from Blues Traveler just pop into my head? But anyways, now there's harmonicas in my head. Damn it.
I thought you were going to say the one that starts off with okay, that was a terrible impression. Let's just move on because that was embarrassing as shit.
What the fuck? I think your imaginary horn is broken.
Sounded like you were trying to diddle a fucking goose.
I don't remember the name of the song, but oh, fucking A. That's amazing.
It was probably Runaround.
Yeah.
I think it would have been, yeah. It starts off with what sounds like a harmonica solo.
Yeah.
All their songs start off with a harmonica solo. Narrow it the fuck down.
It's probably their most popular song.
Well, that would be Run Around.
Yeah.
I'd pull it up, but I don't want to DCMA for whatever reason. All right. So Disney hosted a thing called Investors Day, which I was like, all right. Kind of weird to place it like that, but I get it. It's they're appealing to their investors. And they showed off quite a bit that's coming to both Disney Plus and films. What's interesting is a lot of these movies are also coming to Disney Plus, whether it be like a day one watch like Soul is, or Premier Access, which is $30 to watch it, like the upcoming movie in February. But they announced a lot of Disney Plus shows, So I'm gonna go over them. We're gonna talk about which ones we're excited for and yada yada yada. Let's start off with I'll scroll down a little bit here.
So we're going to start with the Star Wars stuff or the Marvel stuff?
I'm on their main website and I'm just scrolling down, so we'll get there. So two beloved Disney properties have inspired high-profile entertainment series in development for Disney Plus. Beauty and the Beast, which is a working title, will star Luke Evans and Josh Gad, and will have new music composed by Disney legend Alan Menken.
Is this a series?
Yes. This will be
Oh.
I have an idea, Greg.
Yeah, what's up?
We don't have to hit on every single title.
I'm skipping quite a bit.
Okay.
So don't worry about
that. That sounds like a horrible idea.
And Beauty and the Beast is like one of my favorite fairy tales. That sounds horrible.
Well,
and I love the animated movie, but I watched the live action movie. The live action movie did add a few things in it from the book that weren't in the animated movie, but guess what? It sucked compared to the animated movie.
I know. I don't disagree that Disney or that Beauty and the Beast sucked. What I think's interesting about this is they said Luke Evans and Josh Gad, which means it'll be about Gaston. What? Like that's
nobody can do anything like Gaston.
I know.
Get their own series like Gaston.
I don't remember the horrible series that was out in the, I think, 90s, maybe 80s. That was Beauty and the Beast. It had the chick from Terminator.
It had Linda Hamilton and Ron Perlman. Yeah. I remember I used to watch that all the time.
I don't know what they're going for with Disney, but that's the first thing that pops in my head when I hear a series called Beauty and the Beast. I'm like, no.
When that show comes out, I definitely want us to at least review the first episode just to see where it stands. But another show they have coming out is it says Ron Moore, and I don't know who Ron Moore is, not the comedian, and John M. Chu will reimagine the classic Swiss Family Robinson. Additionally, the studio is developing Percy Jackson and the Olympians based on the best-selling book series.
I could get with that.
I hope they kind of start it from scratch and tell the entire series of books, but we'll see.
Yeah.
That would be cool because they did try that a couple of years back, wasn't it? About 10 years ago, they tried to make a movie.
Yeah, and it did fairly well. It wasn't. I've watched the first one; it wasn't bad, but
Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief.
Yeah, it was funny because Andy, the guy we play Fall Guys with, he was telling me how his son Zach has been reading all of the Percy Jackson books, and they watched the first movie, and Zach had his first, "This isn't like the book, I kind of hate it."
Nice.
Which I had a good laugh at. I was like, well, he'll get there quite a bit. We've all been there.
Yeah.
So here are 4 live action shows they have coming to Disney Plus. Mighty Ducks: The Game Changers, which picks up where the film's left off. Emilio Estevez returns as Gordon Bombay.
No.
Turner and Hooch, starring Josh Peck and a Mastiff. Big Shot. It's a celebration of girl power set in the world of high school basketball, starring John Stamos, Yvette Nicole Brown, and Jeslyn Gilsing. Or Gilsig. And The Mysterious Benedict Society, based on the best-selling book series starring Tony Hale and Christian Shaw. I'm interested.
I like Tony Hale and Christian Shaw, but I mean,
I'm interested in that. I'm not excited. I'm interested. I want to know where. Like, I want to know more about that show.
I do want to know more about that, but some of the other ones, what the fuck?
I don't get the Mighty Ducks thing. Like, Disney is clearly trying to build off of nostalgia.
I mean, I enjoyed the Mighty Duck movies. You know, they're a guilty pleasure. All three of them, even the one where they went to private school.
Yeah,
all three of them. I will still watch them from time to time if they're on. And I'm flipping through. It's like, let's watch the Mighty Ducks. Why not? But yeah, series now picking up where the movies left off. Like, okay, 25 years after the movies left off, is everybody. Well, Sean Weiss, he needs a job, pay for his math, I guess. That was the guy that played Goldberg.
Yeah.
Well, who are they going to cast in Turner and Hooch?
You said Josh Peck?
Yeah, Josh Peck, yeah.
I just don't see this going well.
We'll see. I mean, here's the thing, and I want to point this out. I was skeptical on the show that brought back Karate Kid, but everybody seems to fucking love it. So
yeah, you're wrong, Greg. Everybody else loves it.
I didn't say
it's okay to be wrong.
I was right in my point though, that everybody was skeptical. Now everybody loves it. That's my point. Regardless of my opinion on the show.
I was excited.
Yep, I haven't watched it. I have no desire.
I don't like it. I think it should be silly and comedic and over the top.
Nope.
Nobody agrees with me.
Nope.
Yeah, Big Shot. I don't know. It could be good. I don't care. Whatever. They have a bunch of shows coming to National Geographic or that side of Disney Plus. Apparently, there's a documentary called Cousteau. Documentary series Secrets of the Whales: A Real Bug's Life in America the Beautiful. A bunch of stuff they're putting on Hulu. A couple exciting ones for me is Why the Last Man. I don't know if I've talked about that comic before.
Yeah, now that is one I'm definitely looking forward to. It's been in development hell for years now.
Yeah, but
here in the past couple of years, it's finally picking up some steam.
Yeah, apparently they're going to make that into a show for FX, or at least the side of FX that Hulu's on. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, there's let's see, show called Only Murders in the Building, which reunites two comedy icons, Steve Martin and Martin Short, who will be joined by Selena Gomez.
Okay.
Interested in that. The Dropout, which tells the story of a con artist that captured the world. Elizabeth Holmes played by Kate McKinnon. Okay. And Dope Sick, a new drama series inspired by the true events with a cast that include Michael Keaton, Peter Sarsgaard, and Rosario Dawson. So,
tells me nothing.
Yeah, I don't know.
We've got actors.
Although the stars kind of interest me, like I'm kind of fascinated where that's going. One that I think is interesting that I don't quite understand. I haven't watched the show, so I don't know where it could go. But it was announced today that ahead of the eagerly anticipated season 4 premiere, Hulu's award-winning hit series The Handmaid's Tale has been renewed for a 5th season.
Fuck yeah!
So I thought the show ended. I thought it had an ending, but I guess not.
Oh no, it has not ended. You haven't watched it?
No, I'd want to. I do want to.
Oh my god, the show's amazing.
I heard the book's just as good too.
Oh yeah, and this isn't the first time that The Handmaid's Tale has been on the screen. The first time they did it as a movie, I think. But yeah, it's terrifying to watch that show as a woman.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
Because we're not too far removed from possibly seeing something like that. It's Yeah, it's definitely a good show. I would recommend anybody watch that.
Yeah, I've been told by many people to check it out. So
I think Misty and I might start watching it after we wrap up finishing up Preacher. We're finally finishing that up.
Ooh,
No, that was so good.
I'd like to hear your opinion on that when you're done.
Well, we're 3 episodes into season 4, so be done.
So I'm gonna move on.
I'm gonna
move on to the Lucasfilm stuff. Because it's a lot, not just Star Wars either. So get prepared for that. Investors Day 2020 is the way to host. New feature films destined to expand the Star Wars galaxy like never before. Among the projects for Disney Plus are Obi-Wan Kenobi, starring Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, returning as Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
Interested in that. Don't know where that's going, but
it's a limited series. It's only going to be 6 episodes, and it's It's focusing on Obi-Wan after he went into exile on Tatooine while he's watching over Luke from afar. It's going to be set in that period.
I assumed as much, but I also assumed that there wasn't any interaction between Obi-Wan and Anakin after Episode 3. So
that's what we've always been led to believe. But
right.
And it could be, maybe he's been hired on. Maybe he's going to be doing flashbacks, and they might be in flashback scenes together, de-age them a little bit. Who knows?
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
But I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I think Ian McGregor was a fantastic Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And then 2 series set in the Mandalorian era from Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni: Rangers of the New Republic and Ahsoka. Obviously, Rosario Dawson will be Ahsoka for that series.
Yep, she's getting her own show, and I'm looking forward to that.
Still have no idea what the fucking Rangers of the New Republic is, but
I think it's going to be about those 2 fighter pilots that we've seen, the 2 X-Wing pilots that we've seen in this season of The Mandalorian. Watch it be about them.
I hope it is kind of about them, and they're just like, they've put together a team. Like, it's more about the team that they put together than it is about them. Is what
they go from planet to planet and make sure that all the national parks are following safety regulations.
There you go.
So additionally, there are 5 more shows that they have. Is it 5 or 6? Whatever. So there's Andor, which is it's about the one of the characters from
Cassian Andor. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what that's about. Star Wars: The Bad Batch, which is about a group of clones from Episode 2 / Clone Wars TV show, and it's animated like the TV show. They're basically like they're a bunch of clones that refuse to go with Order 66, which is what killed all the Jedi. Kind of. Anyway, so that'll be fun. I know a lot of people who love the Clone Wars TV show are excited about that.
Yeah.
Star Wars Visions, no fucking clue what that's about. They didn't say
it's supposed to be something like Love, Death, and Robots, various animated shorts in that kind of style with
like an
different director. Yeah, an anthology show. Yeah.
I'm okay. If that's the case, then yes, please. Lando, which is about Lando Calrissian. And I believe it takes place before, like in between Solo and like basically him becoming.
I would love to see, and a lot of people have said this too, him being portrayed by Donald Glover, but being narrated by Billy D.
Oh, that would be awesome. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that'd be dope.
Yeah.
The other show is The Acolyte. Don't know what that's about.
It's set in the High Republic era. That new stuff that they started doing earlier this year in the summer.
Yeah.
So it's going to be set in that era.
Okay, cool. And then the one show nobody fucking asked for, A Droid Story.
Yeah.
Back in 1985, there was a cartoon called Droids, and it focused on R2-D2 and C-3PO. But nobody else that you had ever seen before, except for Boba Fett. He made an appearance. and their wacky adventures.
It was good for kids, but I know that most adults were like, "This is garbage."
I tell you what, it came out. I was it 84 or 85? It may have been in 84 and 85. I was 8/9. I fucking hated it.
Oh, really?
It was good for kids younger than me.
I've watched it as an adult, and it's really bad. But
oh yeah,
not as bad as the Christmas special. That'll always be the worst Star Wars thing, and / one of my favorite things.
Oh, it's absolutely wretched.
Because I'm a sociopath. And then to go away from Star Wars, they have a. They're gonna make.
Oh, you didn't.
What's that?
There's still more Star Wars stuff. They're making a Rogue Squadron movie.
Oh, that is on here. It's down below. It's
yeah, okay.
The rest of the stuff they have on here says the studio is also revisiting Willow in a new series with Warwick Davis returning as the title role.
Betty, did you like Willow?
Yeah, I did.
It's coming back as a series.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
It will be.
Willow Ufgood all grown up, but
because that movie is not great. It really is.
It's not a great movie. It's a fun, wonderful fantasy film. Fuck you. I love that movie. But no, I mean it's not an award-worthy film.
Well, I think the problem with it is that, and again, I can't stress this enough. Like George Lucas fucking sucks at making movies. He just does. And
he didn't make the movie, dude.
But he was like right fucking behind. What's his name?
It was Ron Howard that directed it.
Yeah, watch the behind the scenes of that movie. Like, watch
he was probably up Ron's ass because I don't know if Ron had directed anything before that or not. But
I don't believe so. So yeah, he was up his ass the entire fucking time.
But yeah, I always loved that movie. But yeah, this is set in apparently the magic that Willow's people can use is the Force. It's set in the Star Wars universe.
What?
Yes.
I'm sorry. What?
Yep. That's what they were saying the other day.
Oh my god. Anyway, so moving on. Jesus.
Willow is a Jedi. You're gonna have to get used to it.
Well, the fucking story of Willow is just Star Wars. It's set in a medieval fantasy land.
Yeah.
Anyway, Patty Jenkins, who directed Wonder Woman, she's coming to direct a film called Rogue Squadron, which will apparently come out at the end of 2023. So good lord, that's a while away. But I mean, Patty Jenkins clearly fucking she can direct a goddamn movie. Because arguably out of the DC fucking movies, Wonder Woman is the best one, hands down. You can argue with me until you're blue in the face, everybody, but that movie's the best one.
It's really good.
So her directing a Rogue Squadron movie is going to be fun.
And I always liked the Rogue Squadron books back in the day.
Yeah. Also the games were fun.
Oh, yes.
It was also announced that the next installment of Indiana Jones will be directed by James Mangold. I don't know who that is exactly, but yeah, they got Indiana Jones coming back. A new Star Wars feature film written and directed by Taika Waititi called... Oh, no, it's not... What? Here's what it reads exactly here. A Star Wars feature film by writer-director Taika Waititi and Children of Blood and Bone. Okay, so it's just... Okay, so those are two separate things. So the last thing on this list from Lucasfilm is Children of Blood and Bone, based on Tommy... I can't pronounce that last name. Adeyemi's best-selling novel will be made by Lucasfilm. So
James Mangold, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, he did the Logan movie.
Oh, okay.
He's also done other great films. Copland. 310 to Yuma.
Okay. All right.
So
I love
He's
his
got-
take on Indiana Jones. Then I'd love to see that. Yeah, so we're getting quite a bit from Lucasfilm outside of Star Wars, which is interesting. And the thing is we will try to watch and review a lot of these shows that they've announced, just because that's what we do, folks. And I'm kind of really liking with our current, world status right now that we watch like an episode, a review an episode, an episode. There we go. That sounds right. Anyway.
Do you smell burning toast?
No, but copper. I do smell copper.
Oh, okay.
So the next slate is
over there?
What?
I said, Betty, are you okay over there?
Oh yeah, I'm just listening.
So the next slate is from Walt Disney Studios Motion Picture Productions. So we're going to have a Hocus Pocus 2, directed by Adam Shankman. I don't know if he did the original, but I don't think he did.
I don't know, but I know that's been in a rumor for a long time, and I know people have absolutely gone ape shit over it.
Yeah.
And I've never seen the original, so.
Oh, it's so much fun. It's silly. It's really silly, but it's a lot of fun.
I was expecting to get crucified for not having seen it just now.
I like to give you shit for not seeing other movies or of the TV shows, but I'm never serious about crucifying you. Like,
I know I was saying it as a joke. I was just surprised that both of you weren't just piling it on right now that I haven't seen Hocus Pocus.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I've come to expect it.
oh, that's amazing.
I've come to expect to be disappointed in you.
It's
in your nature to be a disappointing something.
So they're doing 3 live-action reboots. The first one is 3 Men and a Baby, starring Zac Efron.
Oh, fucking God.
The next one is Cheaper by the Dozen, starring Kendra Barris and Gabrielle Union.
Oh, fuck no.
And the last one is a new Sister Act movie starring Whoopi Goldberg and produced by Tyler Perry.
Oh, fuck. Look.
Those are 3 things that I do not care about.
No. Let's save some other stuff because God, that's killing me. Oh, that's killing me. There's a shit ton of Marvel stuff. We could be here another hour talking about it.
I'm moving on. I'm just going forward. I'm just going to keep reading it. So they have a Chippendales Rescue Rangers hybrid live action with animation stuff with John Mulaney and Andy Samberg. Pinocchio, directed by Robert Zemeckis and starring Tom Hanks.
Actually, I've seen the trailer for that live action Pinocchio, and Pinocchio, when I was a kid, scared the motherfucking hell out of me. When I was 3 years old, I watched Pinocchio, and when him and those other boys were shooting pool and smoking cigars and drinking beer, and then they turned into jackasses, I was petrified that if I did anything wrong, I would turn into a jackass.
Yeah.
And I was traumatized by that shit for a couple of years. I've never watched Pinocchio again in my life because of that shit. That's fucked with me.
I get it. I do get it. We got Peter Pan and Wendy starring Jude Law as Captain Hook and Yara Shahidi as Tinkerbell. Disenchanted, a sequel to the hit film Enchanted, with Amy Adams returning as Giselle.
Oh, I like that.
A couple, let's see, Greek Freak, which is about basketball stuff. They're going to be making a series based on Diary of the Wimpy Kid, Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild, starring Simon Pegg, and A New Night at the Museum. I
can get down with the Wimpy Kid series. I really enjoyed the movies, at least the first 2.
Yeah. They also had previews of such things as Jungle Cruise, Cruella, a prequel to The Lion King, the live-action version, quote-unquote live-action, and The Little Mermaid.
Was the prequel to the fucking Mufasa and what was Scar? No,
Simba.
What was Simba's mom's name?
She
Nala?
had a name. No,
No,
Nala.
Nala was his friend.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
No.
see,
Gonna
it's
happen.
going to be the.
Anyway, so they're also going to have Raya and the Last Dragon, which will debut on Disney Plus Premiere, which is $30 in March of next year. I won't be doing that because I don't see the point in doing that. Lin-Manuel Miranda is working on the music for an upcoming feature film called Encanto, which I totally will watch. It doesn't really say what it's about in this thing, but you can find the information online. But that's supposed to come out in November. We also learned the first ever WDAS produced animated series. I'm not sure what that means exactly. Oh, Walt Disney Animated Studios. Jesus Christ. These new titles are Baymax, Zootopia Plus, Tiana, Moana, and Iwaju. The great thing also about Tiana.
Baymax from Big Hero 6.
Yeah, there's going to be a show based on him. But Tiana, the thing about Tiana that I wanted to bring up was that they're going to be removing all of the Song of the South iconography from the ride at Disneyland, Matterhorn, and replacing it all with Tiana.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, so the next Pixar movie is called Turning Red, which is about a little girl who, when she gets mad, she turns into a giant red panda.
Wow.
That'll be fun.
That's a problem.
That is a problem. Win or Lose, which is the first ever animated series by Pixar, which is about a middle school softball team in the week leading up to their championship game. And each episode is told from a different perspective of a different character. So that'll be interesting. We have a show called Lightyear coming out, which will be about the origin story of Buzz Lightyear. That's not about the toy. And Chris Evans is doing the voice of Buzz Lightyear. So that I'm very interested in that.
Wait a minute. It's about Buzz Lightyear, but it's not about the toy? What do you mean?
The character that the toy is based on.
Oh,
okay.
They
made it like a series and stuff like that. Just like, Woody had his own series.
Yeah. There's another film called Luca, which is coming out next summer. And it's about a boy named Luca and his best friend Alberto and their unforgettable summer. They also have a couple series called Inside Pixar, which Pixar Popcorn, don't know what that is. Doug Days, which is about Doug from the movie Up, and one called Just Cars, which is about Mater and Lightning McQueen going across the country and visiting different people.
Oh dear God, no!
And then, of course, on Christmas Day we have Soul and the short Boro, which will come out on Disney Plus at no additional cost. And now we move on to the Marvel stuff because we're going long in the tooth here on this episode. So a few things that they announced immediately was a new series for Disney Plus called Secret Invasion, starring Sam Jackson, which, if you know what Secret Invasion is from the comics, it's about the is it the Skrull posing as heroes?
Yeah, it was the Skrull posing as heroes, and a lot of heroes were getting wiped out. Like one of the most significant deaths and shocking deaths at the time was Hawkeye. And then when Hawkeye came back, he was Ronin. But turned out the Hawkeye that died was a Skrull. Wasn't a wonderful comic storyline, but I'm interested to see what they can do with it.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be good. They also have Ironheart, which will star Dominique Thorne as the genius inventor Riri Williams. She's basically like, she takes over for Iron Man. She literally has her own Iron Man suit, and she calls herself Ironheart.
Yeah, and I think it would be cool if Robert Downey Jr. were going to be sticking around in any capacity, for him to be an AI for her suit. That would be cool.
Oh, that would be rad. That would be
because that's how it was in the comics.
Yeah. And then Iron Wars, starring Don Cheadle as James Rhodes, aka War Machine, who faces Tony Stark's worst fears, which that is literally like a massive superpower gaining the ability to make Iron Man suits, essentially. So it's like an army of Iron Man, and not good. The other stuff that they announced was the show WandaVision, which actually comes out
Next month.
Next month, yeah. I was like, does it come out next month?
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. A trailer for that had a second trailer, by the way. A trailer for the Falcon and Winter Soldier, which looks like a lot of fun.
Trailer for Loki.
Trailer for Loki, which is going to be very interesting because he's going to be dealing with alternate realities, it looks like, which I'm very excited about. And a series called What If, which is an animated series about basically what if different things happened in the MCU. Like one of the first episodes will be what if Peggy Carter.
Yeah.
Another one is like what if Yondu picked up T'Challa instead of Peter Quill. So T'Challa becomes Star-Lord essentially. But there was a lot of stuff in that trailer that I was just like, oh, we get to see a fucking zombie Captain America. Like that's fucking amazing. So I'm very excited about that. They're going to be making a Miss Marvel show, which we've known about for a while. They showed a little bit about that. Hawkeye, which I'm excited about because apparently the main character is Hawkeye's daughter and not Hawkeye himself.
Yeah.
We're going to get the She-Hulk show, which is starring Tatiana Maslany, which, if you don't know who she is, there's a show where she played, I can't remember the title of it, but she played a bunch of clones of herself. This woman is a phenomenal actress.
Orphan Black?
Yes, Orphan Black. Thank you. Jesus, I could not remember the name of the show. Whew. Yeah, so because of her role in Orphan Black, like the second she was announced as like for the title role of She-Hulk, like I was very fucking excited about that. I was like, yeah, that was perfect casting.
Yeah.
But Mark Ruffalo and Tim Roth will also star in that.
Tim Roth?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, Abomination.
I know what that means.
We're getting a Moon Knight show, which is interesting. I wonder how people will respond to that show. We're getting a special called Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, which will be like a Disney Plus movie. And it's not the third Guardians of the Galaxy movie either. So, and then a series of animated shorts called I Am Groot, which is about Groot as a baby tree. So that'll be fun. And the movies that we're going to be getting are, and I'm just going to list them off in rapid succession: Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which is the third movie. Fantastic Four. We're finally getting Fantastic Four in the MCU.
Oh, thank you.
And then they basically confirmed a lot of the movies they've already said: Black Widow, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Eternals, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Thor, Love and Thunder, Black Panther 2, Blade, Captain Marvel 2, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And I think that's
those are the Phase 5 movies.
Phase 4 and 5, I think.
Oh, I thought Endgame was the end of Phase 4.
I thought that was the end of Phase 3.
No.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
But yeah, a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff.
So we'll likely be reviewing a lot of these shows. Maybe
over
not
the
every
next couple of years.
Yeah. All of this was slated to come out all the way to the end of 2023. So
we have time.
A lot of time. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff that I think was really funny in that, like the remakes of like Turner and Hooch or 3 Men and a Baby. Like
yeah, there's some things that just don't need to be brought back. I mean, I feel like nobody has a unique idea anymore.
No.
I mean, that's why I like the stuff that excites me the most is Turning Red, the girl that turns into a giant panda, and the like Soul coming out on Christmas Day. Like, I'm really excited about those. Like, Pixar always brings something new to the table, and I love that.
Yeah, and the shows that you mentioned that are new are the ones that I'm excited for outside of Disenchanted, and that's a continuation of a story. It's not a remake. So,
right.
if you can continue a story or something like that, it's one thing. But you didn't have to bring back Turner and fucking Hooch, man. You just didn't. You didn't. Nobody asked for that. Nobody asked for that.
I don't get Disney's like absolute fascination with having these live action remakes of animated shows. Like, they're not good. They've never been good. Every single one they've come out with sucks. I remember when Mulan came out and everyone's like, "Oh, this is real bad." So I don't.
Have you watched it?
I watched it this weekend, and it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. You know,
I should clarify. I haven't seen it myself. I've just seen a lot of people say their opinion about it, and it wasn't very well received.
Well, you know, I kept waiting for somebody to start singing, and they never did. It's like, what is wrong with this Disney movie?
So they just went balls out, made nothing but a totally serious movie.
Well, there is a fake. Well, I shouldn't say fake. There is a phoenix in it that appears occasionally because we don't have our little Eddie Murphy dragon dude. So, but again, it has no real play with the story. It's basically, you know, young girl gets herself conscripted into the army to save her own dad, and then she saves the day. It's like Joan of Arc, but nobody dies at the end of it for heresy, you know?
Gotcha.
And again, it wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It's just not something I'm gonna be like, oh my God, you've got to see Mulan. No, you don't. You're not missing anything.
If I'm gonna watch Mulan, I'll watch the animated show. I know the actual story of Mulan. I know the historical version. I don't need to see this live action one that's not historical. I'll watch the one with music.
Yeah, I mean, people get really upset about Disney films, you know, like Mulan and Pocahontas. It's not real. We know it's not real. That's the whole point of the fucking movie. It's fantasy.
Yeah.
You know, nobody thinks there were fucking talking trees until white people came to America. You know, I mean, what are y'all upset about? I mean, don't take life so seriously.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. All right, well, I think that's going to do it for us today. This episode's what, an hour and a half? Almost 2 hours? No?
A little over an hour and a half.
Okay. Yeah. Guys, check out we're gonna watch.
We've been sitting here though for like 4 hours though.
Yeah.
We're going to review next week the finale of Mandalorian, which we're very excited about. Episode 1 of The Stand on CBS All Access. I know that Betty is extremely excited about that. I'm interested. And a documentary that Maya has already watched called Hillbilly on Hulu that we're going to review.
Excited about that one as well.
Yeah. It took place, made by a girl from here, that grew up an hour from here, and some of this takes place just right over the mountain from me. So, and places I've been in are in it. It's weird.
Yeah, it's the story of our people. I'm very curious to see it.
This is the song of our people.
Well, yeah. So yeah, check out those. Join us next week for that. Make sure you follow all the socials, which are listed below. Follow our new Twitch channel, which will go live on eventually. But yeah, that's go to twitch.tv/all_cute_up.
Also, new merchandise store. We have a new shop set up on Teespring, with our lovely artwork that was done by Mr. William Fong and our logo that we had designed by my friend Amber. The three of us in our animated form on the front of the shirt, logo on the back. We also have coffee mugs and a couple other items. So go get you some cool stuff.
Yeah. Very excited about the new merch. I need to get myself a mug. But yeah, that's it for next week. Maya, where can folks find you?
You can find me on Facebook under my name. It's easy. But if you want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, it's a public profile. They're linked. You can follow me there. Other shows you can catch me on, you can find me on the Realm of Collectors YouTube channel every other Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern on a show called Figure Banging. And every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on Nerd Life Syndicate. And that's me. Betty, what about you?
You can find me ignoring my phone at the moment because I can't get to it. You can find me at Bright Betty on Twitter and Betty Badger Ogletree on Facebook. And otherwise, just in my house. So,
thank you guys so much for listening. Oh, you can find me all socials Chubruck Geek. I don't know why I did that. I say it every week. Yeah, all socials Chubruck Geek. I posted a new video to TikTok, and it's me being high and doing something very stupid.
oh no.
But yeah. So yeah, just search Chubruck Geek and you'll find me. Thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you all being here. Make sure you check out all those things so you can join us next week and hear our opinions. If you have any opinions yourself, let us know on our socials. We'll love to interact with you. But yeah,
we'd love to tell you how you're wrong. No.
I mean,
we love to hear we love to hear you tell us how wrong Gregg is.
Yeah, that is nice.
But yeah, guys, love you. Go watch the make sure you go watch the Star Wars Holiday Christmas special. It's fantastic. People disagree with me, but when you see an old Wookiee have to put on a VR headset for porn, it's pretty funny.
Okay.
I wish I was joking. I legit wish I was joking.
It's horrible. Don't watch it.
It's fantastic in its horribleness.
Worst hour you could spend.
Oh, it's longer than an hour.
Well, without commercials.
True, I guess. Anyway, yeah, guys, we'll see you next week.
Peace, love, and Polly Pops.
Take care, everybody.